Hello everyone, this is Nazila Najafi. My professional and academic background is integrated with tourism and hospitality fields since 2002. As a board member and promotions director at Canadian Tour Guide Association of British Columbia, Canada, and member of Travel and Tourism Research Association and World Leisure Center of Excellence, I'm currently faculty member in the hospitality department in Vancouver, and I'm enrolled in this international hospitality management program as part of my professional development projects. In this session, I'm going to briefly discuss the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of Vancouver Island Whale Watch Company, which is located on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. It should be mentioned that the provided data in this discussion is methodically crafted based on my own field experience, besides parallel research and personal communication. As you see in this figure, the Saley Sea is a transboundary marine region jointly managed by Canada and the United States. It's a place shaped by water movement where nutrient-rich tidal inflows from the North Pacific blend with equally rich outflows from rivers and creeks, forming one of the world's most productive marine ecosystems. Over 8 million people live around the Saley Sea, including the major urban centers like Vancouver, Seattle, and Victoria, exerting growing pressure on its natural balance. Vancouver's proximity to prime whale watching areas, combined with its status as a major tourism destination, welcoming 9.5 million visitors in 2023, suggests that tens of thousands of tourists likely participate in whale watching tours annually. However, the region faces mounting threats. Habitat loss due to shoreline development, overfishing, pollution, increased marine traffic, and climate change are all disrupting the coastal food web and putting this fragile ecosystem at risk. The Vancouver Island Whale Watch Tour Company is based in Nanaimo, a touristic city in the middle of the Vancouver Island facing the western part of the Salish Sea. This tour operator runs nature-based educational tours by open Zodiac-style boats or their semi-covered vessels. This whale watching company is considered as the first whale watching company to watch healthy growing populations of whales. Their expert guides avoid the endangered southern resident orca population, which is mainly seen in the southernmost part of the Salish Sea near the US border. There exists a meaningful research-based advocacy between these tour operator and marine researchers and conservation organizations, which will be discussed later in detail. I'd like to highlight that Whale Watch Company's sustainable approach aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 14 to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and the marine resources for sustainable development. Recognized as BC's most sustainable whale watching company, this top eco-friendly tour operator has avoided running southern resident watching tours since its founding in 2017. As described by our professional naturalist guide at that time, Rebecca Sterling. Even before it became Canadian law, the company had already chosen to avoid southern resident tours. As Val Watson noted in a personal communication, company's educational vessels maintain a minimum approach distance of 400 meters from all killer whales in southern BC coastal waters and 200 meters from all killer whales in other Canadian Pacific waters. The first weakness point could be considered its seasonality. Public tours usually run from March to October. However, this tour operator runs charter tours year-round. Given that there are fewer public tours overall during the year. The second point is the lack of wheelchair accessibility. Elaborating on this issue, they mentioned that the semi-covered vessel, which is called Kula, is the only suitable one for people with mobility issues. As Rebecca described, their vessels strictly follow federal regulations regarding speed and distance. As shown in this picture in this slide, while approaching the surrounding waters near the Gabriola Island on the eastern side of the Vancouver Island, they maintain in 100-meter distance from adult whales, and if mother and baby humpbacks are around, they stop at approximately 200 meters away. Besides, in close advocacy, the company collects $2 Canadian from each passenger and donates it directly to whale conservation initiatives in BC, including the Center for Whale Research, the Pacific Salmon Foundation, and GITA Coastal Conservation. Gasoline engine boats and sewage disposal are considered as these operators' threats towards the nature. Clarifying the first issue and to lessen the amount of water, air, and noise pollution, Val Watson mentioned that they monitor the current technology, new outboard engines, and the latest fuel-efficient technology. Besides, they are seeking the best propeller sizes for outboards. And in terms of the sewage disposal, they answered that dumping in the shoreline vicinity was the only solution at that point. Overall, a paradigm shift is needed to integrate and preserve marine resources while enjoying the beauty of the nature as tourists. Given that, an information technology-based business solution could help the Vancouver Island Whale Watch Company improve and develop from three standpoints: a live trackable map, updated statistics, and VR opportunities for people with mobility issues. Considering the growing tendency among today's wise travelers to book more eco-friendly and sustainable tours, it's essential to ensure that this company remains well aligned with sustainable approaches compared to other operators in this niche tourism sector. Having said that, software is needed to show and track the vessel's live movement during whale watching tours, entail updated big data, especially comparative statistics showing levels of air, water, and noise pollution relative to other active tour operators to convince the environmentally wise visitors as BC's most sustainable whale watching company. And eventually, providing access to VR for audiences who wish to enjoy whale watching, but they are unable to do so due to mobility issues. That would be quite valuable opportunity. Not only would this support DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, but it also could attract more visitors throughout the year. Thank you for joining this session, and I appreciate your attention.